TrEd College is actually a privately owned college in Sydney. We are based in Sydney, New South Wales. And we have been around for over 11 years, since 2009. And we predominantly do healthcare courses. So we specialize in healthcare courses like nursing, pathology collection, dental assisting, early childhood, and aged care and disability work. And I am the director and the CEO of the college. And we also have Michelle Tolentino. She is the director of studies and the chief operating officer of TrEd College. And her background is also in nursing. So all the clinical questions, Michelle will be able to answer wonderfully, much better than I do. But I don't have a background in nursing. I faint at the sight of blood, so won't be the right person to answer. But in terms of TrEd College running, look, we are, as I said, we are based in Macquarie Park, which is actually right in the heart of health precinct. Like, we are very close to Macquarie University, Macquarie Hospital, and all the pathology and the pharmaceutical companies here, very close to CBD. And yeah, as I said, been around for many years now. And we have been running these courses for domestic students for a long time. But for international students, we started in 2018. So for international students, we haven't been there for too long. Maybe that is the reason we are not, I mean, you probably may not have heard about us in India at the moment. And for international students, we run courses like in nursing and early childhood at the moment. And very recently, we are offering an preparatory program for internationally qualified nurses. And I think I will let Michelle touch on that in a little bit. But as I said, we have accredited courses where you can actually come to Australia and study as a student, or you also have the option to study in India as a distance education student, or if you're interested in as an internationally qualified nurse to prepare for your registration process, even that, a part of it, you can still do it in India, and a part of it, you have to come to Australia to do it. So that's just a very brief introduction about TrEd College. I mean, we also have our website. Please feel free to go in on the website and have a look. It's I'm going to put it on the chat if that's all cool. So all of you, if you're interested, might be able to go there and have a look. So it's tredcollege.edu.au. There it is. Yeah, so and we also have a Facebook page, and yeah, a lot of information is on it too. But while we are talking and discussing these things, if you have any question, please feel free to put it on the chat. I'm sure Puneet, myself, or Michelle, one of us will be able to pick that question and address it for you here. Or maybe you can just, maybe Puneet might be able to even unmute it if you want to have a discussion on it too. But meanwhile, what I'll do is I will just quickly get Michelle to explain to you a little bit about the OBA program, because I understand most of you that have connected to us today are interested in the OBA. So I will let Michelle explain that. And then for any other course, we can all as a team answer your questions. So yeah, Michelle, over to you.
Thank you. Hi, thanks, Nutan. Hi, everyone. So as Nutan mentioned, in terms of nursing, one of our primary courses that we've recently commenced is a preparatory program for OBA. Now, OBA has just been rolled out this March, and because of the things happening around, there hasn't been much motion on it, but there's still it's still ongoing. In terms of OBA, it stands for outcome-based assessment. So I'm pretty sure, like, since you guys are overseas internationally qualified nurses, you've had a look around about how to gain qualification in Australia. So you probably might have heard about the IRON program. That was the one that has been superseded already. That's the international recognition of overseas nurses. And the most recent one is EPIC, Entry Program for Internationally Qualified Nurses and Midwives. So EPIC program, although it is still running, it has now been superseded as well with the another program, which is run primarily by AFRA and ANMAC. So those are the governing bodies for nursing registration here. And so if you're an internationally qualified nurse, the first thing to do is you'd look at their website. There's a self-check there to make sure that you are actually eligible to start the process of gaining your qualification. So once you start that self-check online, you will see that there are 3 pathways. So for countries such as like UK, Canada, and that they usually go to stream 1. So that's the first stream. So there are 3 streams: stream 1 to A, B, and C. B is when you are internationally qualified nurses in countries like Nepal, Sri Lanka, India, Philippines. Those are the ones who are eligible for that, depending on their qualification. So once you are eligible for stream B, that is to do the outcome-based assessment. So with outcome-based assessment, it's not going to be doing a course per se, like your EPIC, which is a 3-month course, or your IRON program, which was also a 3-month course. It's actually going through an assessment for your knowledge and skills, meaning the first part of the outcome-based assessment is a multiple choice question. If you've heard of NCLEX, I'm not quite sure if it's being run in India at the moment, but there are some countries where NCLEX is being run. Those are predominantly as well for countries that are looking at internationally qualified nurses for US and UK. And then after you've passed that multiple choice question, you'll go to a skills assessment, which is more of the looking at your practical skills. Like they'll assess you doing, let's say, a wound assessment, changing an IV line. That's 10 different skills that you're going to be assessed on. So once you've passed the multiple choice questions, that's the only time you can do the skills portion of it, the part B of it. So in saying that, the one that is, since there's no courses running for that, no courses for the current program for OBA, the one that we are running is a preparatory program, which means we will help you prepare once you get that referral to actually to go forward or move forward with your processing for the OBA. We will be helping you or assisting you in terms of like preparing for the multiple choice questions, how to answer it, how to, to build on your knowledge base as well, especially in terms of the Australian healthcare system. And then once you pass that, then we move on to the next part. So we'll prepare you as well for the skills part. So we're going to be looking at skills development and looking at the protocols and standards that is more of Australian based. So it's quite different from the previous EPIC program. So it's not a course in itself, but it's a preparatory program. So because we want to ensure that you take it in one go, because although you can retake the exam, it's always best that you take it in one go. And same with your skills assessment as well. So with the skills portion of it, as Nutan was mentioning a while ago, there are parts of the preparatory program wherein it can be done on an online version, or even in India, we might run it there as well. I think we are planning to run it there. But in terms of the skills, it's usually we run it in Sydney, in Australia. That way as well, once you get the date of when you're going to be taking the exam, that's when we book you in for a preparatory program for that. So at the moment in Sydney, or in Australia in general, there's not much institutes or colleges, universities running this type of program that we're running. I think we're one of the first ones to run this type of program. So that's why we're trying to get as much exposure as we can. That way people will know that we are actually running the program, and there is a program available for the newer or the more recent applicants for nursing. Did I miss anything out, Hudson?
No, I think you pretty much covered a lot about OBA, but that is one specific about OBA. But I mean, look, I think now I would like to ask you if any one of you have any specific questions for any particular course, because as I said, we do have other courses as well that we run in Australia. If any one of you wants to come to Australia and study, like if you want to study Diploma of Nursing or Diploma of Early Childhood and Education or Pathology Collection. With Pathology Collection, we are the only college in Australia offering that qualification to international students. So it's actually a very unique qualification that actually packages very well with nursing. So we're offering that as well. And Puneet, he's from Eduxpress. He represents TrEd at the moment in India. And that is why you're all being connected to us via Eduxpress. So yeah, that's probably all from me and Michelle at the moment. But now we would like to see some questions. But I understand, Puneet, you received some questions from some of the students already. Unless if there's any question from the students that are currently online, maybe you can throw some questions at us and we can answer those.
Now, one of the questions I had received was, what is the total time frame we are looking for in OBA course?
So for the so for the preparatory program itself that is run by TrEd, for the preparation of the multiple choice questions and the skills part. So with MCQ preparation, we do it for 2 to 3 weeks, and then for the practical skills preparation, we do it for 3 to 4 weeks. So depending on the frequency of how the student would like to attend. But that's in the side of with TrEd Institute as well. So it's not we do a package of it, but we won't book the skills part until the student passes the multiple choice question part. So that in terms of booking for that, when we are going to be conducting it for the student, it will depend if the student has successfully passed the multiple choice questions, because we have to take it one step at a time, do the prepare for the multiple choice question, do the reviews, do the knowledge preparation part of it, practice exams, practice tests, and then they sit the exam. Once they pass the exam, then we're going to move on to the next part, which is preparing for the skills part. But if for example, if let's say it hasn't been successful, then we're going to do a bit of refresher as well until the time that they pass the multiple choice questions. So the total duration of how they're going to pass the OBA or go through the OBA with the multiple choice and the skills component of it will be depending as well on the success rate of passing
How quickly they
those.
can pass the
Yeah.
test. Now, thanks, Michelle. Thank you for that. There's just a couple of questions. I can address those. I think, Usha, that's your question for early childhood education. Excuse me. Now, early childhood education, we offer 2 courses. We offer Certificate 3 in early childhood and Diploma in early childhood education and care. Now, these 2 courses, you have 2 options. You can actually study in India itself as a distance education, as an international offshore student. And how that works is you can complete all the theory part in India. Of course, you will have a trainer support from the college, and you complete all the theory part online in India, and then you come to Australia to complete the work placement. Now, work placement for Cert 3 is 3 weeks, and for diploma is 6 weeks. So for that 3 weeks or 6 weeks, depending on the qualification, then you come to Australia on a visitor visa, and you complete the work placement and get the full certificate. After that, it's up to you. You can choose to continue your studies and maybe study bachelor's if you want to, or you can even go back to India and do, work in the industry. So that's totally your choice. But if you want to come to Australia and study these qualification, yes, you surely can apply as an international student. And Puneet from Eduxpress has all our information. He will be happy to email you all the info. If you can send him, you can leave your email address here, or if he has it, then he can just send you the flyer. So you can study Certificate 3, which is 1 year, and Diploma is 2 years, if you want to come to Australia and study. I hope I answered your question, Usha. And I think I'm sorry, I didn't get the name right. If I get it wrong, my apologies. Is it Dr. Dube or Dupe? I don't know, but I'm sorry if I got the name wrong. Yes, for international students, we offer a lot of courses. Of course, as I mentioned, we have Diploma in Early Childhood, Diploma of Nursing. Now, these 2 courses can be packaged with multiple courses. Like, for example, Certificate 3 in Pathology Collection. It's a 9-month course. It can be packaged with Diploma of Nursing. And then we also have Certificate 3 in Individual Support Aged Care and Certificate 4 in Aging Support. So as a package, these 2 becomes 1 year plus 2 years of Diploma of Nursing. And of course, with early childhood, we have Certificate 3 in Early Childhood package with Diploma of Early Childhood. That becomes 2.5 years. All that information is also available on our website if you want to have a look. Or alternatively, you can please leave your email with Puneet. I'm sure he will be happy to send you all our course flyers and all the course information, including intake dates. If there's anything else, please leave your question here. I'll be happy to answer.
And I think just an add-on as well for Usha's question. In terms of if you're interested with early childhood education, as Nutan has mentioned as well, we do have the distance education, and I think this is one of it's a good start to starting the course, especially during this current times that we are going through, this current situation that we are having. Doing the distance education and doing it from India for now, like doing it, starting it or commencing the course there, and then once there's a bit more development in international travels and all that, you'll be able to come and do your clinical your work experience placement here. So I think, yeah, it's a good start will be to do it as a distance education.
Great. Great. Thank you. Thanks, Michelle. And yeah, I think Dr. I'm sorry, I'm not going to get your name right now, has left his email address. Puneet will be, I'm sure, sending you all the information soon. Any other question? Or do you have any more question, Puneet, from what the students have sent you?
I again had a question on OBA.
Mm-hmm.
How different is it to prepare for when you, I remember Michelle talking about NCLEX. How different is it? Because it's a new program, we believe.
Yeah, so with NCLEX, because NCLEX is developed by Pearson, so it will be fairly similar with how UK and Canada and US, because I did my NCLEX as well, so I was registered for US and did my NCLEX. It will be similar to that. The difference will be as well is that they will have an orientation program to orient them to Australian nursing practices, to orient them to Australian healthcare, the standards of here in Australia. But for NCLEX itself, like how it's conducted, the way it's conducted, it will be run by Pearson's or it will be run by NCLEX approved centers. But you have to have before you take the NCLEX, you have to have a referral from AFRA to say that you are eligible to do OBA and you are being referred to do the NCLEX exam. So it will be an NCLEX for Australia. So there's NCLEX for entry to US, registration to get their registration to become a registered nurse in US, and in other countries they have their specifics as well. But it will be sort of in a similar setting. You'll still go into an NCLEX site, they'll check your details, you'll sit the exam. It's going to be a computer-based multiple choice questions. So because with nursing, a lot of the theoretical components of it, apart from the standards, would be it's the same. So or similar. So it's still the same as the NCLEX of how it is run. So if you've experienced taking the NCLEX, if you've had experience of actually sitting NCLEX exam, it will be the same.
Perfect. Excellent. Thanks, Michelle. Actually, just on some of the questions that everyone has asked about international students, one thing I forgot to mention was the English requirement to apply for all international courses. You must clear one of those English exams like IELTS or PTE or OET or any one of those. Our requirement is minimum IELTS 6, but for nursing courses and also for OBA, that's IELTS 7. So just wanted to share that. I forgot to mention that earlier.
I have another question. This is regarding childcare.
Yeah.
What are the opportunities? Because a lot of Indians want to go abroad and settle. It's not that just that they're looking for the course and come back. So how is it a career path and how it can help them to get residency or stay back in Australia?
Perfect. I'll answer that question for two different groups because, yeah, you're right. A lot of students want to study early childhood to come and live in Australia permanently and see what are the career opportunities. So one thing is, if you are a student that has just completed year 12 in India and you are just fresh out of school, for them, I would recommend definitely come to Australia straight away, apply for Certificate 3 and Diploma in Early Childhood, and then they can continue because early childhood is in skill shortage in Australia. There are a lot of career opportunities, jobs are there. Look, we are a training provider, so technically I really can't advise you on job opportunities, but if you look it up on some of the job sites, like there is sites called seek.com.au, there's sites called Indeed, there's a lot of job employment sites for Australia, and if you just type childcare on it, you can see there's plenty of jobs. And even for our students that are currently studying here, getting a job in early childhood is a lot easier because there's skill shortage. And also in regional areas, the demand is picking up. So the job opportunities are there. So after certificate 3, you can start working as an educator, and then from there the progression is you can become supervisor, and then room leader, and then center manager, and even the center director. So there's a proper pathway. And after doing diploma in early childhood, if somebody wants to study bachelor's, they can study bachelor's as well, but they go straight into second year. So they save 1 full year of university because you get credits towards the university. So, but if you are not a fresh graduate, you have not, you have completed year 12 a few years ago, and excuse me, and you are still thinking, okay, what to do, and you have been working in something else for now. For you, I would strongly recommend doing certificate 3 or diploma as a distance education. So as a distance education student, what it means is, because right now, if you think about it, with all these wonderful coronavirus lockdowns, travel is not happening until early next year. Like, you still have entire 2020 left, like it's still 7 months left, literally. So basically what you can do is you can make the most of this time to complete certificate 3 or diploma in early childhood while all these things settles, and complete all the theory, and then you can apply for visitor visa to come to Australia, do the work placement, get your qualification, and then you can choose either to go for bachelor's, or you can then you can do any other course if you like. Because once you are in Australia, then you can decide, you have multiple options, like you can apply for student visa while you're onshore. I hope that covers that question. Yeah. Any other question? All right. Was there anything in your email, Puneet?
It's just the basic opportunity, in healthcare, because people are still feeling that how do they get visa for OBA? Because short-term visas are not given by Australian immigration.
No. So for OBA, when you come here when you apply for visa, look, although I am not a Mara agent, so that's my disclaimer. So for visa purposes, I would strongly recommend that you consult a registered agent who does visas properly. But from our experience, what students do is, if it is a short-term courses like OBA, because it's going to be few weeks, and if you have to come to Australia to take that test, then you apply for visitor visa. And you apply for visitor visa, you will have the letter from APRA that you have to take the test, and you will also have a letter from the college as well saying that you have to do a preparatory program, and it's a short program for 4 weeks or something. So you will get that letter from us, and then using that you apply for visitor visa. And I don't see any reason there will be any issues with that. Because
yeah, that's right. The main thing that you'll be able to use, like, if once you get, that's why the referral is important. And also when you book in the dates for your exam, it will be reflected in the you can show your maybe there's a confirmation of booking schedule. You'll receive that email of confirmation of when you're booked to take the exam, as well as the referral for OBA. So those are the 2 documents that will also help when you apply for your visa.
Absolutely, thank you. And look, there are multiple agents available. They're here. We have them in Sydney and in India as well. And I'm sure Puneet knows quite a lot of them. He will be happy to connect you with them, or even with us. You can let us know as well. We'll be happy to connect you to some of those Mara agents who will be able to help you with visas. Any other questions?
We are still waiting for some questions, but before we ask more questions, can you also brief us about some other courses which TrEd has? Because we've just spoken about OBA and childcare. What other courses?
Yeah. Excuse me, sorry. Yeah, the other courses we have, as I said, we have Diploma of Nursing coming up. I think we are looking at a first intake in November. But for international students who are currently in India, if they want to study, we are probably looking at a January intake. End of January. A Diploma of Nursing is actually a highly sought after course, and not many colleges actually have it. And the career prospects out of diploma of nursing, they're pretty high, because obviously nursing is in skill shortage in Australia. And also, once you complete your diploma of nursing, you register yourself as enrolled nurse. And as an enrolled nurse, there are multiple opportunities, because earlier it used to be like, we have registered nurses and enrolled nurses used to work under them. And even now it's the same case, but now the hospitals are preferring more and more enrolled nurses to come and work. And I'm sure Michelle can actually comment on that, because Michelle's background is as a registered nurse and has worked in multiple hospitals in multiple settings in Australia.
Yeah.
Michelle, could you please?
Yeah, for diploma of nursing, that's a qualification, and you'll once you've attained your qualification and you finish diploma of nursing, you can register as a healthcare professional, and you will the registration that you'll get is as an enrolled nurse. So as Nutan mentioned, yes, we work with enrolled nurses, so registered nurses and enrolled nurses, we work as a team. If you're an enrolled nurse and you would like to pursue further studies and would like to do your bachelor's, you can do that as well. So from diploma of nursing, you get your registration as an EN. You can either, you can still work as an EN, and then you can move further in your education by taking up bachelor's of nursing, wherein you'll get 1 year credit transfer. So instead of doing 3 years of Bachelor of Nursing, you'll only do 2 years of Bachelor of Nursing. And then after that, you'll get your qualification as a registered nurse once you've done the full course and you've attained your registration through AFRA. And at the moment, there is a lot of skill mix is what we call it. We have a mixture of RNs working with ENs, because ENs have also, you're registered or you are qualified to perform within your scope of practice is administering medications and all that. There are just some limitations that you cannot do, or you cannot skills that you cannot perform as an EN compared to as an RN, but it's still a recognized you're still a healthcare professional. You'll still have your registration with AFRA as a nurse, as an enrolled nurse. So yes, and recently, because I still work in the healthcare setting as well, I work in hospitals, so we do have a lot more need for enrolled nurses for that skill mix.
Great, thanks, Michelle. Yeah, okay, that's a few of our other courses.
Pathology as well is Nutan, pathology.
Oh yes, that's right. We also have certificate TrEd pathology collection. Of course, it's a 9-month course, and that course is pretty hands-on. I mean, it's as the word says, it's about taking bloods and doing all sorts of testing, and it actually matches very well with diploma of nursing. And what happens is, as soon as you finish your certificate TrEd pathology collection, and before you even commence your diploma of nursing, you can work here as a phlebotomist or as a collector in multiple pathology labs and medical centers, or sometimes even in hospitals. So so the career options are there, and especially after the coronavirus situation, the demand for healthcare workers is obviously going to grow massively here. And not just in Australia, I'm sure it's all over the world.
Even for the Cert 3 and Cert 4 courses, Cert 4 in aged care, you'll be able to work as an assistant in nursing. So you'll be able to work in different aged care settings, or even in hospital settings where there's, say, for example, in rehab, as long as they're in need for assistant in nursing. So even at the beginning of the course, after doing your first certificate course, or if you're doing diploma of nursing and you've done the first semester, which is crucial as well. There are units there, components there, where it's needed for you to be able to be qualified or have a bit of certification, for example, in work health and safety, infection control, basic life support, first aid, and that, to be able to work in hospitals and in aged care setting as an assistant in nursing.
Perfect. And the jobs as an assistant in nursing, there are many jobs. Like, we actually have nursing agencies calling us all the time, asking if we have students who are interested in jobs. So there's multiple jobs available. And as an international student, you're allowed to work 40 hours a fortnight.
Or sometimes even after for our students, once because we have certificate 3 and 4 students, when they go to their placement, clinical placement, their workplace experience, those who really perform well, they actually get offered a job while they're on placement already. And then after they've completed the course, they immediately get that employment, they get hired, and they have a job. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, we recently had a group finishing the Certificate 3 course, and a lot of them got jobs offered at the same facility where they went for work placement. So it's very normal. All right, I think that's from us, unless we have any more questions.
I have a general question somebody had asked. Do you think that gaps, people who have a break or who have been working and then they again come back to education?
Okay, when you're talking about gap from year 12 to when they're going to apply. Yes, if you have gaps, then the best way to go around it is do the distance education. So do the Certificate 3 or Diploma in Early Childhood as a distance education, or we also offer Certificate 3 in Business Administration Medical for distance education. So you can do any one of those courses and then come to Australia for work placement on visitor visa. So once you come here, that's when you can decide, okay, what else can you do? So that basically kind of takes care of the gap, because the only problem with the gap is because with the gap, if you apply for student visa from India, it's very hard to justify that, and you may not get the approval in the course.
So that's
And but if you use the distance education, then it's easier.
Yes, and I think it's that transitioning back to like studies and all that. So usually that's what we find from students who had quite a long gap in their studies. It's just going back to transitioning to the study, and getting back to familiarizing themselves in terms of like getting the knowledge, the understanding, or just the study etiquette as well.
True.
all right. I don't have any more questions.
Yep, I think we have gone through quite a bit. And okay, I think you have already posted in the chat if there's any other questions. If not, I think we can call it a day. But if there's anybody who needs any more information, please feel free to email us, and then we can individually answer the question over the email, or feel free to call us, as you can have our details are on our website, and Puneet is in India anyway, so he'll be able to answer all your questions too. And then, yeah, we'll take it from there. Over back to you, Puneet.
All right. Thank you so much.